Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. US Supreme Court rejects bid to halt sentencing in hush money case. Verdict to be announced today. Trump says he respects the ruling. No relief in sight as wildfires continue to ravage Los Angeles. 10 dead and thousands flee. US government to cover 100% of fire response costs. Security tightened in Venezuela ahead of Maduro inauguration as the president today. Opposition leader Machado freed after brief detention. 3 days, 18th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention 2025 to conclude today. President Murmu to attend the valedictory session in Bhubaneswar. World breaches 1.5 degrees Celsius global warming target for the first time in 2024. Last year was officially the hottest on record. The US Supreme Court on Thursday denied a last-minute bid by President-elect Donald Trump to halt sentencing in his hush money case. The court noted that the judge who presided over the hush money case has already said that he plans to impose a sentence of unconditional discharge which does not carry any jail time, fine or probation. Trump is scheduled to be sentenced in Manhattan at around 9:30 p.m. IST or 14:30 GMT on Friday. He has been convicted by a New York jury in May of 34 counts of falsifying business records to cover up a hush money payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels. Trump's attorneys claimed that the immunity from prosecution granted to a sitting president should be extended to a president-elect. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, however, rejected their arguments, saying that Trump was a private citizen when he was charged, tried and convicted. Trump is the first former US president to be convicted of a crime and will be the first convicted felon to serve in the White House. After the ruling, Trump told journalists that he respects the court's opinion. Trump termed the ruling an attack of a political opponent. The US president-elect said that he will be appealing in the case and expressed confidence that justice will prevail.
As you know, I'm under a gag order from a judge. This is the first. This was an attack of a political opponent. I'm the first president and probably one of the first candidates in history that's under attack with a gag order. And I respect the court's opinion. I think it was actually a very good opinion for us because you saw what they said, but they invited the appeal, and the appeal is on the bigger issue. So we'll see how it all works out. I think it's going to work out well.
Massive wildfires that engulfed whole neighborhoods and displaced thousands in Los Angeles remain totally uncontained on Thursday. Amidst chaos and reports of looting, US National Guard soldiers are being readied to hit the streets to help quell disorder. While President Biden has asked the governor, local officials to spare no expense to do what they need to do and contain these fires. We get you details in our next report.
Los Angeles is a city on fire, and this time quite literally. With smokes blanketing the sky and an acrid smell pervading almost every building, swaths of the United States' second largest city lay in ruins. Massive wildfires from the east and west remain totally uncontained even on Thursday. At least 10 people have been killed so far. Thousands of homes and businesses have been incinerated, and nearly 180,000 people have been ordered to evacuate their homes, with another 200,000 under evacuation warnings. Death toll is likely to rise as human remains detection teams would conduct house-to-house searches once it is safe.
It's a natural disaster, so we couldn't do nothing. As long as we're healthy, we're fine, we're alive, that's all that matters.
Amidst the chaos, looting had broken out, with numerous arrests made. Around 400 US National Guard soldiers are expected to be on site Friday. Local police is already patrolling evacuation zones. Further, A sunset to sunrise curfew has been declared in evacuated areas of Santa Monica, and police said more overnight curfews would be coming in the fire zones.
We had a number of looting arrests throughout the entire county region. That is unacceptable behavior. Having additional resources, having the National Guard with us, which will augment those resources, will help send a stronger message, keep people out of the impacted areas so we don't continuously victimize the people who have already been victimized, who have lost their homes.
The biggest blaze has ripped through over 19,000 acres of the upscale Pacific Palisades neighborhood, while another fire in the Altadena had torched 13,000 acres. US President Joe Biden has pledged extra federal funds and resources to help the state cope.
So today I'm announcing that the federal government will cover 100% of the cost for 180 days. This is going to pay for things like debris and hazard material removal, temporary shelters, first responders' salaries, and all necessary measures to protect life and property. And folks, I want to underscore, I told the governor and local officials, spare no expense to do what they need to do and contain these fires and in their communities that have really been devastated.
Experts estimate the damage and economic loss at $135 billion to $150 billion US, warning an arduous recovery and soaring homeowners' insurance costs. Officials warn that more strong winds are expected on Friday and that Tuesday of next week could see even more robust winds. It has been around 262 days without rain in the area and conditions are very dry. Bureau Report, DD India.
Los Angeles celebrities shared their concerns and pledged support over the unpredictable flames which tore through some of the world's most lavish real estate and above showbiz landmarks instantly recognizable around the world. Wildfires have long been a seasonal hazard in California, but in recent years their frequency and intensity have increased significantly due to climate change. We get you details in our next report. Pacific Palisades neighborhood of Los Angeles, an upscale and picturesque enclave home to many movie stars and celebrities, is a picture of ruins. Once palatial homes are now devoured by flames. Power lines are downed and abandoned cars littered the roadways. Firefighting crews managed to fully control the Sunset Fire that forced mandatory evacuations in Hollywood and Hollywood Hills. The homes of many movie stars and Hollywood celebrities were among those consumed by flames.
Like everywhere else in the world, it's people with ways and means and it's people without them. But you have to be there to all the people no matter what. Everybody needs support and love in these moments. Wealthy or not, poor or not, it's the right thing to do. So you try to make sure nobody is left behind, nobody is forgotten.
What compounds the misery is the health risks as people evaluate the loss. Wildfires have blanketed the surrounding regions under a pungent haze caused by smoke, carrying noxious gases and particulate matter that pose serious health risks.
So the particulate matter that you would see in a regular wildfire in the middle of a forest is something we are seeing, but included with that are the chemicals themselves that are created from the fire, from the burning of the man-made structures. So that adds another component. In those chemicals can actually get deeper into the lungs than just the particles and actually can get into the bloodstream.
Approximately 85% of the wildfires in the US are human-caused, stemming from unattended campfires, equipment malfunctions worsened by climate change.
Climate change has caused an increase in the wildfires. And we all have to care because it's an indicator that something is changing in the world, and this change is having an adverse effect to the environment. It's drying out the forest. It's making them more susceptible to wildfires. And then when these wildfires happen, that's going to be a detriment to our health.
Meanwhile, actor Jamie Lee Curtis announced a $1 million donation to relief efforts. The Oscar winner, in a post on social media, said that she and her husband, actor and director Christopher Guest, along with their children, were starting a fund to support the cause. Bureau Report, DD India. Climate change continues to escalate, and with new data confirming alarming records. Scientists say the world has just experienced its hottest year ever, with temperatures surpassing 1.5 degrees above pre-industrial levels for the first time. The implications are far-reaching. DD India's Diptanshu Kashyap gets us more.
The world just experienced the first full year in which global temperatures exceeded 1.5 degrees Celsius, above pre-industrial times. Scientists of the European Union's Copernicus Climate Change Service have stated that human-caused climate change is pushing the planet's temperatures to levels never before experienced by modern humans.
January to July has been the warmest on record. July was the second warmest, and then the from then on has been second or close to first around. But when you put all of those together, then the trajectory is just incredible and sums up to the warmest year on record.
The planet's average temperature in 2024 was 1.6 degrees Celsius higher than in the 1850 to 1990 period, surpassing the previous record set in 2023 by a significant margin. This creates a 2-year warming spike that scientists are still trying to fully explain. Experts warn that these rising temperatures are pushing us closer to the critical 1.5 degrees Celsius threshold. Governments worldwide have committed under the 2015 Paris Agreement to limit warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius to avoid catastrophic climate impacts. The first year above 1.5 degrees Celsius does not breach that target, which measures the average temperature over decades. But experts believe it is now clear that the Paris target will also be breached within the next 10 years.
We are steaming along a path of self-destruction. That despite all the efforts being made by a number of well-meaning countries and entities, that will remain way off the target of what is required to keep global warming to 1.5. And it's just so sad that despite all the warnings that scientists have given, that nations across the earth, many of which are based in rich countries, are continuing to fail to live up to their responsibilities.
The impacts of climate change are already being felt across the globe, with deadly wildfires in California, devastating floods in Nepal, and heat stress affecting nearly half the planet. Rising temperatures have also led to more intense storms and rainfall. Political will to address the crisis remains weak. As greenhouse gas emissions hit new record levels in 2024, the need for urgent action has never been clearer. Diptanshu Kashyap's report for DD India.
All right, and up next we take a look at the impact of climate change. What does 1.5 degrees Celsius mean and why it matters? Up on your screens we'll have the details now. To avert the worst impact of climate change and preserve a livable planet, global warming needs to be limited as much as possible and is a matter of urgency. Under the Paris Agreement, countries agreed to substantially reduce global greenhouse gas emissions to enable the long-term global average surface temperature increase to be kept well below 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels and pursue efforts to limit it to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Monthly and annual breaches of 1.5 degrees Celsius do not mean that the world has failed to achieve the Paris Agreement's temperature goal. The Paris Agreement refers to a long-term temperature increase over decades, not individual months or years. Nevertheless, breaches of 1.5 degrees Celsius for a month or a year are early signs of getting perilously close to exceeding the long-term limit. Climate change risks are getting bigger with every additional increment of global warming. Every fraction of a degree of warming matters. For example, every additional 0.1 degrees Celsius of global warming causes clearly discernible increases in the intensity and frequency of temperature and precipitation. Also, the precipitation extremes limit global warming to below 1.5 degrees Celsius, and it will significantly reduce the risks, adverse impacts and related losses and damages from climate change. Failing to do so will lead to increasingly frequent and dangerous extreme weather events, which can include heat waves, droughts, wildfires, and heavy precipitation and flooding. Extreme heat causes the greatest mortality of all extreme weather. An estimated 489,000 heat-related deaths occurred per year between 2000 and 2019. Exceeding 1.5 degrees Celsius would also trigger multiple climate tipping points with abrupt, irreversible, and dangerous impacts for humanity. Many climate impacts like disappearance of mountain glaciers and ocean acidification are essentially permanent. It will take centuries to thousands of years to restore to even today's conditions. To minimize losses and damages, it is crucial to minimize the magnitude and duration of temporarily exceeding 1.5 degrees Celsius by urgently and significantly reducing greenhouse gas emissions and phasing out fossil fuels. You're watching DD India Live. We're heading for a short break. Stay with us.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. After the break, you're watching DD India Live. Venezuela's opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado, has been freed after being detained upon leaving a protest in Caracas on Thursday against President Nicolas Maduro. Machado was detained after making her first public appearance in months to lead a mass protest in Caracas. Opposition claimed that during the period of her abduction, Machado was forced to record several videos. The government officials, including Interior Minister of Venezuela, said Machado's arrest was fabricated by the opposition in a bid to generate support for her movement. Opposition demonstrations took place throughout the country in an 11th hour effort to put pressure on President Nicolas Maduro ahead of his third inauguration on Friday. The protests were aimed at veteran leader Nicolas Maduro, who expected to be sworn in for a third time on Friday, despite a disputed election. The brief arrest of Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado provoked swift condemnation from political leaders across the globe, punctuated by calls for her right to free speech and personal safety. The White House on Thursday called for a halt to what it described as Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his representatives' harassment of the political opposition. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump has defended Venezuela's opposition party leader and its presidential candidate as freedom fighters who must be protected. Many South American nations, including Argentina, Chile, Colombia, and Ecuador, and Spain, have also expressed their concerns over harassment of opposition in Venezuela. Let's get to other updates now. The 3-day 18 Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention 2025 will end today, with President of India Draupadi Murmu presiding over the valedictory session of the convention. She will confer the Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Awards 2025 upon select members of the Indian diaspora to recognize their achievements and to honor their contributions in various fields in India and abroad. The Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention is the flagship event of the Government of India that provides an important platform to connect and engage with the Indian diaspora and enable them to interact with each other. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath launched the special Kumbh Vani channel, that is FM 103.5 MHz, and the Kumbh Mangal tune by All India Radio in Prayagraj. The channel will broadcast live coverage of the Kumbh Mela, providing important information to devotees and promoting the Kumbh's traditions. The initiative, led by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, aims to spread awareness about India's cultural heritage and provide coverage of key events during the Kumbh period from January 10th to February 26th, including significant bathing dates like January 14th, 29th and February 3rd.
महाकुंभ के इस रहस्य के बारे में, उसके धार्मिक, उसके आध्यात्मिक, उसके सांस्कृतिक और उसके सामाजिक और आर्थिक पहलुओं को भी ध्यान में रख करके इस आयोजन का साक्षी हम सबको दूर दराज के गांवों में, मुझे लगता है कि यह फैलाने का काम कुंभवाणी, आकाशवाणी और प्रसार भारती करेगी।
The channel will offer daily live reports, special cultural programs and information related to travel, health, cleanliness and lost and found items. It will also feature segments for youth, women and international visitors.
We are trying to bring this to everybody's home through not only this Kumbhavani FM channel, but also through our three networks, I would say, DD National, DD India, DD News. Through our OTT network, we are trying to reach to every home in the world. We are putting more than 40 cameras, and the first time we are putting a helicam, a camera with a helicopter, which will give you the huge expanse of the event. More than 500 million people are expected to visit this in the entire 1.5 month period, and we are going to show to you, bring to you in entirety this particular magnificent, biggest event of the century.
This revival of the Kumbhavani channel, which gained popularity during the 2013 Kumbh and the 2019 Earth Kumbh, is set to continue the tradition of promoting India's cultural legacy. India's Railways Minister Ashwini Vaishnav unveiled significant developments during his inspection of the integral coach factory in Chennai, highlighting improvements across India's railway network. Ashwini Vaishnav announced the launch of the second version of Amrit Bharat trains, designed to provide premium level comfort for general passengers. He said that the general coach has the same facilities as the premium coach, pointing to enhanced features including improved seating, charging points and modernized toilets. The minister also stressed that optimal results are achieved when both state and central authorities align their objectives for infrastructure growth.
Based on the experience of 1 year and based on the experience of Vande Sleeper, many improvements have been done in the Amrit Bharat version 2.0. 12 major improvements have been done in the entire train. Semi-automatic couplers, modular toilets with a totally new construction material, chair pillars and partitions, the emergency talkback feature, EP assisted brake system, seat and berths are totally new design, ergonomical design, pantry car has been totally new design, continuous lighting like Vande Bharat, fire detection system like all Vande Bharat and AC coaches, gangways, external emergency lights, charging sockets, USB A and C type, as well as mobile phone holders.
And now we get to updates from the world of sports. Jude Bellingham and Rodrigo struck to earn Real Madrid a 3-0 win over Real Mallorca on Thursday and set up a Spanish Super Cup final clash with rivals Barcelona. Bellingham, Martin Valiant and Rodrigo scored the goals for Madrid to set up a repeat of last season's final. Madrid has the chance to earn revenge for its heavy Clásico defeat in La Liga in October after Bellingham's clinical second-half strike sent it on its way to victory in Saudi Arabia. Bellingham was in the right place at the right time to carefully slot home the rebound past defenders on the goal line, continuing a stunning run of individual form. Real Madrid will face Barcelona in the final next Monday. India's men's doubles pair of Satvik Sairaj Ranki Reddy and Chirag Shetty will take on local favourites Theo Yi and Ong Yu Sin in the quarterfinals of the Malaysia Open Badminton Tournament on Friday. Earlier, the Indian duo defeated Malaysian pair of Noor Mohammad Azrian Ayub and Tan Wee Keong in straight sets 21-15, 21-15 in the second round. The men's doubles pair of Satvik and Chirag were the lone survivors as HS Pranoy, Malvika Bansod and the women's doubles pair of Trisha Jolly and Gayatri Gopichand made their exit from the tournament on Thursday. That's it in this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the respective QR codes